and so on. We have dou f by dou xn is equal to 0. So basically what we do is this vector, if I call it as capital G, uh, sorry, capital G vector. So we have dou f by dou x1, dou f by dou x2, dou f by dou xn should be equal to 0 0 0. Okay, this is a necessary condition. Okay, and so that means if at the point at which this is satisfied, that means what you get the partial derivative equal to 0 with respect to each of the decision variables. At that point we can have either local minima or local maxima. Okay, but it is only the necessary condition. We cannot guarantee whether it is a local minima or local maxima. So for that we have to go for the second derivative. Okay, so we know that there will be, if my function is f of x is a function of n variables x1 x2 xn. Okay, there will be n square second derivatives, second partial derivatives. Okay, so this, the matrix consisting of, okay, containing these second partial derivatives, we call it as the Hisen matrix, and we denote it by H. Okay, so basically this is like this: x1 square dou x square by dou x1 dou x2, so on. Dou x1 dou xn, sorry. This is dou square f by dou x2 dou xn. Finally we end up with dou xn dou x1. Excuse me, sir. No, you come afterwards, 5 o'clock. You come after 5 o'clock. Okay, so this is what we get as the Hisen matrix. Okay, so the nature of the Hisen matrix, okay, will tell you whether we will have a local minima or local maxima. Okay, so any matrix H, okay, or this is a square matrix, this is n by n. Okay, so any square matrix n, n by n square matrix, okay, we can tell that this will be positive definite if for any arbitrary non-zero vector, let us say S, okay, if S transpose H into S, okay, so this is S is any arbitrary non-zero n by 1 vector. Okay, so if this, we know that this is a real, it is a scalar. Okay, this S transpose H into S transpose H into S. Okay, so we know that S is n by 1, so this will be 1 by n multiplied by n by n multiplied by n by 1, so you get a scalar. Is a scalar. If S transpose H S is greater than 0, Okay, then H is said to be positive definite. If S transpose H into S is less than 0, then it is said to be positive, negative definite. This is what is said to be strictly positive definite, and this is strictly negative definite. We also have S transpose H, S is greater than or equal to 0, it is said to be just positive definite. If S transpose H is less than or equal to 0, we have negative definite. Okay. So if we can prove that whether the Hessian matrix is either, if it is a Hessian matrix is positive definite, then at the stationary point we will have the what can we have? Basically, if this is positive definite, it implies that, okay, f of x, the function is concave or convex. Hello? If we can prove that S transpose H is greater than or equal to 0, so then fx will be a convex function. If this is less than 0, then we will have f of x is a concave function. If a function is a convex function, what do we get? Get minima or maxima?
Maximum.
Maxima.
Minimum.
Minima means the surface connecting any 2 points, okay, will be above the function. Okay, so it will have a minima. So that means for a convex function you will have a minima. So whatever minima you get, that will be the global minima. Similarly, for a if it is fx is the Hessian matrix is negative definite, then the function f of x, okay, this is capital X, the f of x is a concave function, okay, and we will have a maximum, and whatever the maximum you get, that will be the global maximum. So the question now is, how do we prove that this Hessian matrix is either positive definite or the negative definite? Okay, so one way of examining or finding out whether a Hessian matrix is uh, is a positive definite or a negative definite is by finding out the eigenvalues of the Hessian matrix. If H is the matrix, n by n matrix, so how do we find out the eigenvalues of this matrix?
Determinant of h minus lambda I should be 0.
So also that is the correct. So what we have to do is, we found h minus I into lambda. So where I is the
Eigenvalue. No, identity matrix.
is n by n identity matrix. Identity matrix, and lambda is, okay, the eigen vector, the eigenvalues. Okay, so we will take the determinant of this, equate it to 0. Okay, So this will be a how many lambda values we will get by solving this equation? Hello?
N.
N.
There will be n.
Maximum.
So the lambda will be a vector of, this is capital lambda will be a vector of lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n. Okay. This is what we call it as the eigen vector. And these individual values are called, what are they called? The individual values of lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n in this thing is eigen values. Okay, so find out the eigenvalues by finding this determinant and equating it to 0. Okay, so basically you will be getting lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n. If all the lambda values, that is lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n are negative or positive, then H is positive definite. Okay. If lambda values, all the lambda values, then let me write it. If lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n all are okay. If all of lambda are negative, then we will have, what will be the nature of H? H will be negative definite. Negative definite. So if we can prove that, so if the H is if H is positive definite, then what can we say about the what will we get at the stationary point? Minima or maxima? Hello?
Minimum.
No, if it is positive, okay,
Minima.
you will get minima. Okay, so that means you will get local minima. Okay, and if these lambda values are independent of the decision variable, sometimes you get they are positive, but they are independent of the what is that, the decision variables, then you will have the global minimum. We will see by example. Okay, global minimum. If H is negative definite, okay, that means if I find the eigenvalues lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n, and if they are all of them are negative, then you will have a local, what will you have?
Maxima.
Local maxima. And if again, if all these lambda values are what I can say, independent of the decision variables, then you will have a global minimum. Satinder, इसको थोड़ा बड़ा करो, increase it, छोटा हो गया. Okay, that's enough. Okay, so now we can write down the necessary and sufficient conditions for necessary and sufficient conditions. What is that? Necessary condition is the partial derivative, necessary and sufficient conditions for minima and maxima. For minima and maxima. Okay, so now that means the the necessary condition is that the partial derivatives, the first partial derivatives with respect to each of the decision variables should be 0. Then the sufficient condition is that if H is positive definite, that means all the eigenvalues of H are positive, then we will have
Minimum.
local minima. Further, if eigenvalues are independent of decision variables, then we will have global minimum. What is the sufficient condition for maxima? If H is negative definite, then we will have, that means all the eigenvalues are negative, then we will have local maxima. Okay, if these eigenvalues are independent of decision variables, we will have global maximum. Now you come at 5 o'clock, I have told you. Global maximum. Okay, so these are the we can also go, if this is not this thing, then that means if the second derivative becomes 0, that means all these, then you have to go further for the third derivative, which becomes much more complicated. How many third derivatives we will have? If I have a function is a variable of n decision variables, how many third derivatives?
N function.
N cube. Okay, because you have to do it so that the computations becomes much more this thing. Usually we do not go, especially for function of more than variables. And if, let us say, when I solve this yeah, determinant equal to 0, if some eigenvalues become positive and some become negative, then what can we say about the function? Can we say whether we will have a local minima or local maxima? We cannot say. We are not sure whether it is a local minima or local maximum. This becomes basically a saddle point. We are not sure. Okay, at some places it may become negative, at some places it may. Okay, so now let us take a simple example, okay, and try to solve it so that you also will have an hands-on experience of solving this. Okay, so I give you a simple function. Okay, just use try to solve this. This doesn't take my, so minimize f of x is equals to x square, x1 square plus x2 square minus 4x1 minus 4x2 minus 4x2 plus 8. Plus 8, let us say. So find out now whether you will have a, what is the nature, question is, what is the nature of the function? Is a convex function or a concave function? If so, what is the nature of the function? And find the minima or maxima. Please do it. Let us see. I will give you 5 minutes. So now what is the vector of x here? How many decision variables this function has?
2.
Hello? 2. Please be interactive. Arpit Srivastav. Arpit Srivastav.
Yes, sir.
So what are the decision variables here?
Sir, 2.
What are those? What are those? Decision variables. हेलो, क्या कोई बात ही नहीं कर रहा है? x1 and x2. Okay, find out at what point you will have the minima or maxima and what is the nature of this. Tell me that. क्या?
So what time should I come?
No, you meet me tomorrow, not today.
So what time?
कभी भी आ जाओ, आपका तो सुबह से यही तक तो आना ही है ना आपको. So you don't expect me at what time you should come. You
No,
come,
no, sir.
okay? Once you come, I.
Yeah, sir. Actually मैं last week भी आके गई थी और उससे पहले तो आप सर छुट्टी पे थे.
मैं जो भी है अनुश्रुति, just you
Yes.
come tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how many of you solved it?
Minimize 0.
It's minimized. So what is the point at which you get the minimum?
2,2.
2, 2. And what is the nature of the function?
Positive definite.
Positive definite. What are the
it's-
lambda values you are
it's
getting?
1, 4 and 4.
Lambda 1 is equals to 4 and lambda 2 is?
Sorry, sir. It's 2. For 2 lambdas, both are 2.
Both are same,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? So basically, what is dou f by dou x1? is equals to 2x1 minus 4, isn't it? And if this should be equal to 0, so x1 gets, x1 will be 2. Similarly, dou f by dou x2 is equals to 2x2 minus 4 is equal to 0. That means x2 is also equal to 2. Okay, so this is the stationary point. Then what is h? Here, dou square f by dou x is 1 square. How much is that? That will be 2. 2 dou square f by dou x1 x2 is 0. So you get 0, and similarly this you get. Am I correct? Hello? So
Yes, sir.
then
Yes.
h minus I lambda equal to 0 determinant. So when you solve, you will get lambda 1 as 2 and lambda 2 as 2. So here the lambda 1 and lambda 2, okay, are positive. So you will have a minimum. Does this lambda 1 and lambda 2 depend upon x1 and x2 here?
No.
No. So what can we say about this local minima? Is it a global minima or is it a
Global.
because it is independent of this, independent of the decision variables. Okay, so this will be whatever. So basically this is a convex function, and the global minima is achieved at 2 in 2 2. And what is the value of minimized value? You substitute in this objective function and get the value. Okay, so this is how we can find out the. I think now let us take one more example, which is much we can see the local minima and local maximas. Okay, so take one more example. F of x is equals to x1 cubed plus x2 cubed, x1 cubed plus x2 cubed minus 3x1 minus 12x2 plus 20. Find out now whether you will have a minima or maxima for this, and what is the nature of the function and all these things. Please do it.
फिर उनको केवल करेक्ट आंसर चाहिए ना, बस
Mm.
ऑप्शन नहीं चाहिए ना, बस बोल रहे थे कि ऑप्शन विल बी सफल्ड, सो दे जस्ट वांट द करेक्ट आंसर।
I do not know. Yeah.
तो मैंने बस ऑप्शन आंसर रखा है।
लिख बात कर. How many of you are doing? Ashutosh Kumar Yadav. What is the value of x1 and x2 you get for stationary points? Ashutosh Kumar Yadav. I think many people have just logged in and they are not responding. Muskan Dogra. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Tell me
sir.
what are the values of x1 and x2 you get at the stationary point.
So x1 is plus minus 1 and x2 is
Okay.
plus and minus 2.
Plus or minus 1 x1 and x2 is
Plus minus 2.
plus minus 2. Okay, very good. Okay. Then who else I can call? Rishav Sharma.
Yes, sir.
Rishav, tell me now what is the nature of the objective Hessian matrix?
Sir, I have calculated the values of x1 and x2 here.
Okay, now you do it and tell me.
Yes, sir.
How much is, what is the value of the eigenvectors? Eigenvalues for this. How much is lambda 1 and how much is lambda 2? Hello? Rishav Sharma.
Sir,
How much? Sumit Vardhan, what is the lambda 1 and lambda 2 you get? Sumit Vardhan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm trying.
कितना टाइम लेना है यार ये?
sir, lambda 1 is 6x1
Okay, correct.
and lambda 2 is 6x2.
Okay, 6x1 and 6x2.
6x2.
Okay, so now we cannot say whether this lambda 1 is positive or lambda 2 is positive. So what are the stationary points now we will have? How many stationary points we have? Stationary points are those points at which you have
4, sir.
4. What are those?
Minus 1, comma minus 2, 1, comma minus
1
2,
comma
and
2,
minus 1.
1 comma minus 2, then minus 1 comma 2 and minus 1 comma minus 2, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this stationary point, what will be lambda 1 and lambda 2?
Sir, we can calculate it by just putting the values of x1 and x2
Yeah,
at
lambda 1 will be 6 and lambda 2 will be
12.
12. So both
12.
are positive, isn't it? So at this point, at 1, 2, what will it have? Minima or maxima?
Minimum.
Local minima.
Local minima.
Because these two are positive, so it is a local minima, not
Yes,
global
sir.
minima. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What about this? Lambda 1 is 6.
Positive.
Lambda 2 is
Minus 12.
minus 12. So what can we say about this at this point?
Can't say.
Huh?
So we can't say about that
So
one.
this is what we call it as a saddle point, where we cannot say whether it is a local minima or local maxima. Okay. What about this? Lambda 1 is equals to minus 6 lambda 2 is equals to 12, isn't it? So what about this?
Saddle point.
It is also a saddle point. Do you know what do you mean by saddle? What is saddle?
Neither maximum, neither minimum.
No, actually that is okay mathematically, but actually what is saddle?
Or saddle.
Sir, the point where function changes its concavity.
No, actually, no, I'm asking in a general, not mathematics. So basically, actual saddle is the one actually when you have horse, no, race horse, okay. If you see the horse will be somewhat like this, no. Okay, so the cloth which we put on this is basically a saddle, okay. So basically, if the function is like this, okay, if you have points here, what can we say about the function value at this point? Can we say they are minima or maxima? Because more or less they are having the same value, isn't it? So this point is by like a saddle, okay. So you do not have a real, we cannot say whether it's really minima or maxima, okay. So that's why it's called a saddle point, okay. What about this? Lambda
Local
1 is
maximum.
lambda 1 is minus 6,
Minus 6.
lambda 2 is minus
Minus
12.
12.
Minus
So
12.
you will have a
Local maximum.
local maximum.
Local maximum.
Local maximum you will have. Okay. So you can see that this function, we cannot say that this is a really a truly a convex or concave. Okay, at some places it will act as a concave function, convex function where you will have local minima. At some place it will act as a concave function where you will have local maxima. Okay, whereas in the previous example we are sure that, okay, because these lambdas which we got in the previous example, they are independent of this x1 and x2. Okay, so there we can clearly say with certainty that it is a convex function and you will have a global maxima, whatever, or sorry, global minima, whatever minima you get. Okay, so that is a global minimum. Is this clear? Hello? So basically,
Yes,
if I
sir.
want to find the maximum or minimum, okay, first we have to make the first derivatives with respect to each of the decision variables, make it to 0 and solve and get the stationary point. Okay, x1, x2, x3, xn. In this example, we have taken a function with 2 variables. Okay, you can have a function with more variables also. That time it becomes much more involved in finding out this. So then we find out the nature of the Hessian matrix, okay, by finding out the eigenvalues of H, okay, and if all the eigenvalues are positive and independent of the decision variables, then we can say that it is a convex function and whatever minima you get, that will be the global minima. If H is, all the eigenvalues of H is negative and independent of the decision variables, then we can say that the function is concave and whatever minima or maxima you get, that will be the global maxima. If these eigenvectors depend upon the independent decision variables and depending upon the nature of lambdas at these stationary points, we can say either it's a local minima, local maxima, or saddle point. Okay, this is see, actually what you can do is, if somebody is interested, you can plot the contours of this function f of x in the space x1 and x2. Okay, so you can see that at some places this function will be decreasing and converging it to 6 to this at 1 2 it will be having the minimum. What is the minimum value which we get and what is the maximum value which we get? Tell me.
2 and 38.
For 2 1 how much?
2 and 38.
2 is what? Minimum is 2. Huh?
Yes.
And the maximum is
38.
38. So that means basically if I plot where is that for I am getting minimum at 1 and 2. So let me plot this. Here if I plot I am plotting on the x1 x2 parametric space. Okay, so x1 is 1, let us say, and this is 2. Okay, so here you will have the minimum. How much is the value? Minimum value? Somebody told?
2.
2. Okay, so around this you will have the contours increasing. Okay, this is 2, and if you plot in the neighborhood, it will be more than 2. Okay, and I do not know how it comes. If somebody plots, that will you will be seeing. Okay, similarly, when at x is equals to -1 -2, this is 1 2, so this is -1 and this is -2. Let us say here you will have, what is the value here? 38 you will get here, and you will have the contours around this, they will be decreasing. You may get 37 32, so like this. So in this portion it is acts as a convex function, but whereas in this it acts as a concave function. So how many of you know how to plot the contours using Excel or any other software? So my first tutorial will be, okay, so you plot this function, the contours of this function from, let us say, 1 to 5, -5 to +5 in the x direction, and -5 to +5 in the y direction. So then basically you will be knowing how this function changes. Okay, hello, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what you have to do? You have to plot this function fx is equals to x1 cube, this thing, and plot the contours and send it to me, so that you will know what is the nature of the function, where you get maxima, where you get minima. Okay, and you will have a better feel of the problem. Okay, so it is interesting to see that this function in this first quadrant it acts as a convex function, whereas in the third quadrant it acts as a what is that, concave function. Okay, so when you plot this you will come to know how the contours change. Okay, okay, is it clear? Hello?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let us make it our task much more complicated. Okay, so here in this function, is it a constrained optimization problem or an unconstrained optimization problem?
Unconstrained.
So we have not imposed any constraints on the decision variables x1 and x2. That means, so x1 and x2 can take any values. Okay, and there is no restriction on these values, but we do encounter problems where there is a constraint on this problem, means on this objective function. So that means let us now go to let us make our problem little more difficult. That means I have a maximize or minimize a function function f of x, okay, where x is again a vector of decision variables x1, x2, xn, okay, subject to let us say single equality constraint, okay, that subject to a condition that g of x is equals to 0. Okay, so this is basically an equality constraint. This g is also a function of x, that means the decision variables x1 and x2, s3. Okay, this is a equality constraint. Okay, so how can we solve this? Now that means I have some restriction on the values which x1 and x2, xn can take. Okay, that means whatever x1, x2, xn which you get, not only it should satisfy this constraint, g of x is equals to 0. Can anybody have done any optimization? How do we go about? Hello?
We can take common subset from both the
Huh?
common subset.
Lagrange's multiplier.
Yes, exactly. You have to go with, you have to use a Lagrangian multiplier. That means what we do is we convert this. This is basically a constrained maximization or constrained optimization problem. We have to convert this constraint problem into an unconstrained problem. Okay, so what we do is, one way of doing that is by multiplying this constraint g of x with a Lagrangian multiplier and forming a Lagrangian of this. So now we can write, we denote it by L of, so now x is a function of x1, x2, xn, and also a Lagrangian multiplier lambda. Okay, see, please do not get confused this lambda with the eigenvalues which we have used. Okay, that is a totally different aspect, and this lambda is called the Lagrangian multiplier. Okay, and we define this, the Lagrangian of this, as f of x minus lambda times g of x. Now this Lagrangian now is a function of how many? What are all the decision variables here in this Lagrangian for this?
n plus 1.
n plus 1 decision variables will be there. What are those variables? Decision variables.
Xi and lambda.
x1, x2, x3, xn, they are n and lambda. Okay, so what you have to do is that, okay, you have to come out with this lambda, okay, such that this, when g of x becomes 0, so what lambda will give me? G of x is equals to 0. Basically, when I do this, okay, so now this is the new function. So this is the basically an unconstrained function. Unconstrained function. Okay, so now it is a function of x1, x2, xn and xn. So if this is an unconstrained function, okay, so how do I get the minimum of this or a maximum of this? What is the necessary condition now for L to be maxima or minima?
So like we've been doing before.
Yes. So what is the necessary condition?
Partial derivative matrix is 0.
Necessary condition, that means dou f by dou x1 is equals to 0, dou f by dou x2 is equals to 0, and dou f by dou xn is equals to 0. In addition to this, you will also have
Del f by del lambda.
okay, del f by dou lambda should also be equal to 0. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you will get lambda. Okay, so basically you will be solving this, what all the values you get, x1, x2, x3 and xn, and also a lambda. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so then we can find out the nature of the objective function. Again, that time there is no need for you to see what is this. Okay, so like this, you can solve this and you can find out the local minima, local maxima, and whatever I have discussed before you can do. Okay, in the next class. Okay, so we are just so let me just start at the let us start the next. I will give you a overview. So now let us say I have more than one constraint. That means there are p number of constraints or m number of constraints. That is minimize or maximize f of x, where x is again a vector of n decision variables subject to the constraints that j of x, gm of x, let us gm of x is equal to 0, where m is going from 1 to m. Okay, so now how many constraints are there? Hello,
M.
there are capital M number of constraints. Okay, so what will be the Lagrangian of this? Now how many Lagrangian multipliers I have to use?
M.
Huh? M number of, that means basically I will have lambda will be a function of x1, x2, xn, then lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda m. Okay, which is, so how do we define this now? The function Lagrangian f of x minus, we will put sigma m is equals to going from 1 to 1 to what will be the top? Capital M. Okay, lambda m into
Lambda m
gm of x, isn't it? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
So this will be your Lagrangian.
Yes, sir.
So what is the necessary condition now for this, if I want to find out? What should be the necessary condition? The first partial derivative with respect to each of x1, x2, xn and lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda m should be equal to 0. Okay, so make it equate it to 0 and solve for x1, x2, xn and lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda m. Okay, so that will tell me, that will give you the stationary point. Okay, then again, if you want to know local minima or local maxima, see the nature of this function. Okay, and see whether it has a local convex function or concave function. At that time you have to use only the Hessian of the objective function itself. Okay, so in the next class we will elaborate on this. Okay, how do we go about it? Okay, so then we will solve it. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, okay, we'll stop here. We'll see on before we leave. So can I have it on Wednesday 12 to 1 instead of Thursday? Instead of when do we have this? Our classes?
Monday, Thursday, and Friday.
Monday, Thursday, and Friday. So shall we shift either Mondays or Thursdays to Wednesday? Can I shift Thursday's class to Wednesday 12 to 1 if all of you are free?
Yes, sir. I think nobody till yet has come up with any issues with that timing. So I guess it's okay.
Okay. So we will then meet on Wednesday 12 to 1. Okay. Then we will be off on I don't take a class on Thursday. Okay.
Okay,
Please put this in your what is that WhatsApp
Will
group.
do, sir. WhatsApp group. Yes.
WhatsApp group. You also include me so that I also know. Okay. Kirat, you have my phone number, no?
Yes, sir.
So you just add me there. Okay.
Okay.
So what about the
sir.
tutorials?
What about the
Tutorials?
tutorials? We will see. But still, I have not yet covered. Okay. We will see 2 batches, and you, depending upon your convenience, you can join either of that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Sir, I am the MTech student joining this class.
I think MTech student you have to join one of the BTech batches because you are the only one student who has taken it. So for BTech, I will let you know what are the timings. So if that timing is suitable for you, you have to join that. Okay.
Sir, yes.
Okay.
I have no problem with the Wednesday timing.
12 to 1, no problem, no, on Wednesday.
No problem.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, lecture is okay, but tutorial we have to see for you. Okay. Anyway, we'll discuss when the tutorials get started. But I have given one tutorial, this plotting of this contours. Okay. So that will give you an example of means an idea of how the function behaves. Especially you would have seen a function with one variable, but if you plot these contours, you will have a feeling of function with more than one variable. Okay. Okay. Bye.